What's up, everybody? It's Peyton Anderson back in with Next Level Athletes. I'm excited to have today's guest, Vaughn Pemberton, on the podcast. Vaughn, a two-star recruit out of high school, saw himself make his collegiate debut this past season at Tennessee and is ready to make his name known going forward. First off, big thanks to Vaughn for taking the time today.
Yeah, no problem. I saw
Of
the DM. I
course.
had to join up.
Of course. Starting with your recruitment out of high school, how would you best summarize what the experience was like for you as a whole in regard to, anything you didn't expect going into it, or even anything you thought that was going to happen a certain way that went differently?
Um, well, to start off, my recruitment was pretty much in the middle of COVID, so it was that was a whole process for me. Because after my junior season, I kind of popped off a little bit, because originally I wanted to play basketball in college, and after my junior year, I had D3 offers in basketball and D1 offers in football. So I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Obviously, I'm gonna play football. So,
yeah, yeah.
um, it was a process with COVID. I had a couple bigger schools talking to me, and then once COVID hit, it just all went away because they wanted to see me in camps, they wanted to see me in person, all that. And Ball State was actually the only one who stuck with me and like kept my offer. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, if you will, I had one D1 offer coming out of high school. So
Mm-hmm. And talk about more about Ball State. What intrigued you most to be able to commit there?
I mean, they when they recruit very hard, very well. I think like I got a relationship with the coaches very early on in recruitment. When my coach would come and see me and like stuff like that. The O-line coach, Coach Johnson, would come and see me at my school and stuff. He was a funny guy. I was like, okay, this is someone I can relate to. This is someone I can, you know, and
Develop a bond with?
exactly. And that's what I've done while I've been here. Coach
Yeah.
Johnson is one of my favorite coaches. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I'm looking back, what would you say you learned most about yourself as an athlete and an individual having gone through that recruitment process looking back?
Mm. As an athlete, I would say that I just kept like, even though I was upset at the time that I only had like one offer, even though it was with COVID and all that, and I realize now that probably wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for COVID. But really sticking with everything, like my workout routine and everything, like the dedication I had to like, I don't care that I'm a two-star recruit. I don't care, because I was still holding my own at all these little one-on-one things we were doing throughout COVID in Chicago and stuff like that. So
Mm-hmm. And looking back at your high school career, notable accolades of yours included second team all conference as a junior, as well as rushing for more than 1,000 yards with 22 touchdowns. Also, your senior season had been moved to the spring because of COVID. To start
mhm.
off, what would you say were some of your all-time favorite memories, but also what you'd say your high school is most known for?
Oh, my high school is probably, in my opinion, is most known for in terms of athletics is known for football. It's known for, we've been to like I think 5 state championships in the past like 7 years or something like that, and we've
Mhm.
won 3 of them. So it's like we, I think I would say, because if you know who John Halasek is, he was an NFL player, and then he came to Loyola Academy and he came and coached there, and he just brought a lot of success upon that program. And as an athlete, for me, it made the transition to college very easy. And I would say my high school is mostly known for football, even though it
Mhm.
is a great education and all that. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, 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 for sure. So what about the coach? Like what specifically did he bring in that helped make your transition to college easier? Kind of talk more about that.
Man, he was just super hard on like everyone. Any like if he knew you had it, if he knew you had that like that that X factor, that it factor,
You're a
that
hard
he was going.
worker.
Yeah,
He'd kind of
then
bring that out of you.
yeah, exactly. Because when I first came in, like he asked me like, do you want to do football in the future? And I said no. Like I'm playing AAU basketball. I'm trying to do the basketball thing because I was also playing basketball in my high school as well. So it was like, I kind of want that. I don't, I like football. Don't get me wrong. I love it. I love
Yeah,
running with people, but I just
that wasn't your
I was
first
so
option at the time.
Yeah, it wasn't my first option at the time. And he still pushed me because he still wanted me to be good for the team, obviously. But it didn't at first he didn't push me to the extent that
Hmm. And additionally, what was most difficult for you personally having your senior season? You kind of talked about this mood because of COVID, but also the challenges that came with navigating through it all, as well as battling through injuries that senior season.
Man, well, that senior season I played so it was basketball first was in like it was from like February 1st to like March 2nd or something like that. And then football started a week after that. So, it's my senior season. I'm like, I've been playing basketball from varsity all 4 years. Like, I'm like,
Hmm.
like I have a great relationship with the coach still to this day. So I'm like, with the basketball coach that is. So you know, I, I'm like, I'm gonna play. My football coach didn't want me to, but I was like, it's a 6 game season. I'm already committed. I just want to enjoy my
Yes, you
time.
don't, you won't get it back. So I mean,
Yeah,
that's
exactly. And I'm glad I did. Looking back on it, we have some memories. Me and my friends and on the basketball court, and it's just I'm glad I did. But overall, that whole spring season, it was only 6 games. I was not much we could do. I just was looking forward to having fun with my friends for the last time. We made the most of those six
mhm,
weeks. So
of course. And like being talking about more about like being a multi-sport athlete. I've talked to a lot of guys about this and the benefits that come with that. But but on top of just the benefits, what advice do you have to kids like in terms of playing more than one sport and not just sticking to one sport and what it can do for them and their future
man,
going forward?
I mean, don't listen to the coaches that try to tell you to pick one, especially when you get to high school. Because my coaches were on both sides. Were like, my freshman year for basketball, they're like, you quit football, you're gonna be the starting point guard right away. And I'm like,
Hmm.
I'm not quitting football, bro. Like, I'm
Yeah,
not quitting.
yeah,
Same thing, same vice versa. So for me, also seeing um how much like the footwork transition from basketball to football and like how much it just helped me as an athlete in general playing two different sports. It just it does wonders for your athletic ability in general, especially like growing up playing AAU and like always, them games be at, you have
yeah.
one at 8 o'clock, then you have one at
Well,
11, and
nowadays you see all the highlights. You see guys in like
exactly.
fourth grade and they're dunking already, and I'm like,
Yeah,
okay.
that's a little crazy.
Back in middle school when I was playing basketball, there's one team and they dunked, and I thought it was the coolest thing in the world.
Yeah,
I was
yeah, I
like,
remember. I remember those days. I miss them.
yeah. But I mean, additionally, besides your like coach, what was? Oh wait, who would you say helped kind of mentor you the most besides your coach? If anybody in high school, kind of to prepare you for your future ahead.
I would say, do you know who Olin Kreutz is?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, so Olin Kreutz he was a Bears O lineman for a long time in the NFL. He was on the All Decade team.
Hmm.
And his two sons went to middle school with me, so I had a great relationship with the whole family since like eighth, seventh, eighth grade. So once I realized that I wanted to like play football in college, I started to work out with him and his two sons. And I was in the gym with Quentin Nelson, Sam Mustipher, Alex Bars, you know, Peanut Tillman came to the gym one time just to say hi to Olin because he was on the Bears teammates, stuff like that. So I was around that from like my sophomore year of high school on, and I just watched my body grow. I watched my like mentally how much I grew from like just talking with him about football in general. Like, cause at first, like I remember one of my first times in the gym, he asked me like what my steps were on inside zone. I play running back, and like I'm a
Hmm.
sophomore in high school, and at that point, all I was doing was just getting the ball, finding the hole, and running.
Yeah, yeah. It
I
was just
didn't
like
know
a
any of
simple
that.
run
Like,
right, run left,
yeah,
run middle play. Yeah.
exactly. So he kind of ripped me for that. He was like, you have to study the game itself. You can't just sit here and bullshit and do this, and that. It's
Yeah.
and he kind of really taught me how to do that, how to watch film, like what to watch when you watch film, what to train with your body, how it applies to different things within the game. And he helped me out a whole lot. Like he helped me out a whole lot. He changed the whole trajectory of my life because he taught me how to really work hard, and that's something that my coaches look at me here now for. Like I'm on the leadership council at Ball State, and they just like if I'm not working hard, something's wrong with me. Like they come to me like, "Are you okay today?" So
Yeah, of
he had a
course.
very big impact on me.
Mm-hmm. And moving forward, your 2021 season was a redshirt season for you. Before I ask that about that season in particular, I kind of want to ask about your transition to college to begin with. Kind of talked about it, the mentoring just a minute ago, but when looking back to your first days on campus, moving into your place, what was your mindset first entering college, but also kind of just adjusting and seeing the game at the collegiate level for the first time as a player?
Um, I would say that I just kind of I knew what it was gonna be at first. I didn't think I was gonna get redshirted. Um, but I was just kind of like it's whatever. I'm gonna come in, work my ass off, and just see what it's worth.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't thinking too much of it, of the transition. Well, like I said, like with my coach from high school and everything, it made everything very easy. But I wasn't thinking too much of it. I wasn't nervous for camp or any of that. I just, but you also know how they treat the freshmen during camp. Because I came in that summer, so
Mm-hmm.
that camp, I didn't get reps at all. It's like, they take your time teaching the offense and stuff. Because most of the true freshmen that do play at the college level, they come in January or something like that, unless you're something crazy.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, of course. And during that season, who did you look most to for advice, how to do this and that? But on top of that, what was it like being able to experience a bowl game firsthand against Georgia State?
Oh, I mean, the bowl game is super cool. That was a lot of fun. I mean, just like the experiences we got to the Rosa Parks Museum in Montgomery. We like just I didn't expect it to be what it was,
Hmm.
from like just we had like a whole like PlayStation 5 set up in the little team room. We was down there having fun. Like it was like it took me back to my AAU days, like being in
Yeah.
the hotel having fun, like because it wasn't like when we travel, we go there, we have our meetings, and it's just to the game. But the bowl game was just 4 days. You hang out with the team. We went bowling. It was a whole lot of fun, and like the game itself, it didn't was it wasn't too pretty, but
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
that too was also pretty cool. Just being on that field and like watching the game from the sidelines. I was redshirted, so but overall, so it was a good experience. And in terms of who I was looking up to, and like asking questions stuff like that, I would say Ty Evans of my freshman year. He graduated now, but he was really helpful for me, like understanding the playbook to like, I'm dealing with this, because also my grandma had passed coming into freshman year. So
Hmm.
that for me was like, I gotta find something to, you know, and I would talk to him about it. He would be dealing with some stuff and he would like just help me out, talk to me just give me wisdom on stuff. He's a very smart
Hmm.
guy. So
Of course. And now looking back on this past season, you saw yourself carry the ball 35 times for 133 yards. Uh, Also, what I said before, made your collegiate debut, first game of the season at Tennessee, where you had 4 carries for 21 yards. First off, talk about your collegiate debut along with your first career rushing attempt. What was that experience like for you personally, but also what that debut meant to you personally in regards to like kind of validating that you're there for a reason or kind of anything like that, if
mhm.
that makes sense.
I mean, well, first off, just being on the field at Tennessee was crazy for me. Like I didn't play until like the third quarter because they had we had Carson Steele last year. He was playing a lot, and then I don't know why I didn't play till the third quarter. It is what it is. It's not my
Yeah, yeah,
say,
yeah,
but
yeah.
anyway, I like when Tennessee scores and the fireworks go off, and you're like, oh my gosh, like,
Yeah. What's
yeah,
that?
you're like, what's that? Like, what the hell?
What's going on? I
And
was
like,
like, "What?"
and then like they score like a second time. You're like, oh, okay, this is cool as shit. Like you see all this, you see the
Yeah.
orange of the crowd, you see all of that, and you just like, wow, like this is crazy. But that first carry, I was in that mode. I was ready because I was pissed I didn't play until the third quarter because
Mhm.
you know I was the relief back last year, so the my running back coach is on the sideline. He's like, after this, like in the first half, he's like, after this first down, Vaughn, you're going. We don't get the first down.
Yeah,
So
it's like,
then,
well, then I'm not going then, I
yeah.
guess.
So, um, but no, once I got that opportunity, I've tried to make the most of it. I'm like, I'm here and I'm gonna do what I can to show these dudes that I'm serious, like from the coaches to all that.
Mhm. And as for the 2022 season as a whole, given the small sample size of carries with 35, what were you most proud of yourself for? What you felt you struggled most with, but also what you specifically want to improve on regarding your game and skill set this offseason going forward?
I mean, me personally, I thought I should have played more. Um, so I'm really proud of myself not getting down on myself and like, and not
Mm-hmm. Not
not
kind
thinking,
of just giving up, kind of, or just kind
yeah,
of.
not giving up and not like thinking like, oh, like the coaches don't like me or anything like that. It's just like we had a dog last year. It was what it was. I
Mm-hmm.
can't be mad at it. And it was also one of my good friends. So it was what it was. I just every time I got in, I tried to make the most of my opportunity, and I couldn't. It's not my decision whether or not I'm in the game or not. So I was really most proud of that, of me like keeping calm, not acting out, and just because normally in high school, I remember I had a backup who was a year younger than me, my junior year, and he was very talented. He's at Colgate now. He's very talented. Became one of my good friends. But I remember they subbed me out and put him in. I got so mad. I was like, man, like the hell are y'all doing? Like, put
Yeah,
me in the
yeah, yeah,
damn game. Like,
yeah, yeah.
you know, but that was just me being immature at the time. So it was what it was. But I really like I'm just proud of myself for that overall and pushing through that season and while not playing much. But also what I want to improve is like everything because I feel like I haven't even scratched the surface yet.
Mm-hmm.
35 carries isn't much. Like Carson was getting that in the game, so I still haven't even scratched the surface. So everything, like from the way
From
I
the
hit the
passing
hole,
game, being
yeah,
involved in the passing game, stuff like that.
everything, like literally every little detail that you can find that I did wrong or that I did good. Like I want to improve everything. I really want to make a name for myself this season. So,
Of course. And kind of talking about it more, looking at the Ball State's roster, but more specifically at the running back position group. You guys like Marquez Cooper, Charlie Spiegel, Rico Barfield, Shoka Griffin the second, a couple others amongst yourself. Talked about it before, Carson Steele, who's now at UCLA. What have you
mhm.
learned? What would you say you've learned most from your teammates and position group up to now? But also what you felt you've been able to contribute back to your teammates in terms of advice and just kind of just being a complete teammate on and
I
off the
mean,
field.
now that now that Will Jones has graduated from last year, he was our older guy. He was the guy we looked to for like if we don't know something, he's been here so long, like we don't know a play. It's just like, Will, what do we have? And. But now that Will's gone, Carson's gone, Ty's gone, Donnie's gone as well. So it's me and Rico pretty much are the ones who have been here the longest now. So me and like me and Rico are roommates as well. So we know all the plays together. We study them. We go to the indoor together.
Watch film and
We work,
stuff,
yeah, all
break
that.
down film.
Mhm. So we like just and even when the young guys have questions for us, I sit down with them and I coach them up with that stuff. And when I see them doing something wrong, I try to coach them up with that. And it's just a whole. I feel like I've made a whole turn. You know, I'm still my little like goofy self and everything, but I feel like I've made a whole turn with
Taking a big
just
jump from
yes, in terms
yeah.
of leader. I think I would say.
And kind of speaking more on that, how would you say kind of being able to be a leader and mentor can help you in like other things in life? Because I know for myself, I'm a special education major, so I work with a lot like any kids, any grade level. So like kind of these interviews help me with my confidence and stuff. What is being a leader and being able to be a mentor for others on the team, especially being only I think a redshirt sophomore or something like that.
Hmm.
How can that help you kind of benefit other things in life as well? If that makes sense.
I mean, I remember I went back to this is before the I went back to my high school um to watch my old basketball team play. It was a rivalry game and all that, and I talked to them before the game, and it was just like kind of surreal for me because it was like one of those younger guys that I had played with before, and it was just like, wow, I'm sitting here in this position now. Like, like all these kids look up to me. I'm a college athlete from their high school. They all look up to me, and it's like it was like wow, and it was very easy for me to do just because it was like just
Kind of
give them
natural
advice
to
on.
you.
Yeah, it's kind of natural. It was just like give them advice on what they need to do if they want to play at this level. Because for basketball and football, it's like it's one and the same. It's college athletics. It's a battle for both
Hmm.
of them. Got to work your ass off just to get to that point, and then when you get to that point, you just have to go as hard as possible and let them know you're serious. So it's
Hmm.
just I would say it has become natural to me. I never thought when I was younger that I would be like this. In all honesty, I never looked at myself as a leader or any of that.
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
always I was always looking at my older brother for it, or he would stuff like that. I never thought I would get to this point.
of course. And kind of going forward, what would you say the identity of your position group is when it comes to playing on the field, as well as your like the group's like overall mentality and approach to the game?
I think I think we have the best running back group in the MAC in general. So I think we are going to do a lot of damage as a whole group because we have like a whole lot of versatile weapons. I can catch the ball at the backfield. I can run through the between the tackles. Rico has a crazy change of pace that is like he's very patient. And then Marquez, I mean, if you saw what he did last year at Kent State, he got it.
Yeah, he's
you
got
know,
another gear in him, I think. I think I
mhm,
saw some highlights or something like that. Yeah.
yeah. So I
And
think there's a lot
yeah,
that we can do.
of course. And when talking about recruitment, the NIL world and everything else, academics, I'm sure it can be a lot to handle for like any given athlete. So taking your own recruitment process into consideration, what advice would you have to share with anyone wanting to pursue a collegiate athletic career, as well as kind of what you would think that they should prioritize when choosing to commit to a school? Because obviously that's a big decision.
Just the culture, like on your visit and everything, just make sure that you understand what the culture is like there, because you don't want to go into a bad culture and then end up miserable. So, for me, it was just looking at like the culture of different programs and just seeing like, can I not only like fit in here, but also like just is it a winning culture? Like, do they have the mentality to win, or is it just like fuck this shit? I'm not doing this. Like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
And like,
Find
that's
purpose.
hmm like yeah, one purpose, one thing at a time. Like that's one of our slogans, one at a time. I have the shirt somewhere in my room, so
Yeah, yeah,
it's like yeah.
of course. And when transitioning over to life off the field, what's a typical day look like for you during the season and the off season?
You said during the season.
And the off season.
During the season, you wake up, you got practice in the morning, you got breakfast, and you definitely got to make sure you get your sleep.
Hmm.
That is no joke. I remember if I just go into the off season, I had a 6 a.m. workout on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Um, 6 a.m. workout, and then I had a 9 a.m. class. We get out of the workout at like 8:30. And so on the days when like I didn't get enough sleep, I'm in that 9 a.m. class, and
Yeah, you're just
I'm out of it, man. And like,
no notes being taken.
man, no nothing, no nothing, no pencil on the desk or anything. I sit in the chair and I was asleep.
Mhm.
So it was just, it was not, it wasn't a lot that I could do at that point. You know, it was just,
Of
it was
course.
what it was.
And talk about your major. What is it about? Also, why you chose it, and what possibilities it might have in store for you in your future.
I'm majoring in communications, and I'm taking that just because, like, you know, I'm a people person. I get along with people very easily, and it's my undergrad too, so I know I can do a lot with that before I do go into grad school. If I do that or not, I can do it's whole lot of broad things I can do. There's becoming a sports agent, a sports broadcaster, a whole bunch of stuff. So
Hmm. And well, on the topic of life off the field, I see you grew up in your hometown of Lake Forest, Illinois. First off, what was life like for you and your family growing up there? Favorite places to go locally, but also any favorite memories in particular growing up.
well, originally I'm from Boston. My dad would hate it if I didn't claim that just because I'm a Celtics fan. I'm a Red Sox fan. I'm a Bruins fan, even though I don't watch hockey. It's like, and if I ever switch that up, my dad would throw me out the house. He would disown me. So, he loves the Boston sports. You know how crazy us Boston fans can get. But I moved to Chicago when I was about, I think, 9 years old. I think, and so I pretty much did grow up there. But I got to claim, shout out Boston. I got to
Yeah,
claim
yeah,
that.
yeah. Don't want to get in
Um,
trouble there.
yeah,
Yeah.
don't gotta get in trouble. But I don't know. I just remember growing up, I was next door neighbors with AJ Griffin, he's on the Hawks now. His dad at the time was the assistant coach on the Bulls.
Hmm.
So this is kind of the story just how I fell in love with basketball in general. I was AAU teammates with Scottie Pippen's kids right when I came in to Chicago. So it was like I got really close with them and like their families and stuff like that. And we all lived in the same area. So we would be at one of each other's houses the whole day, just hooping the whole day. Like that was
Hmm.
my favorite part about my childhood. Like we would be at someone's house from sun up to sundown, hooping in the summers, and then we would go inside when it got dark. We would play 2K till sunrise, and we'd be back doing the same thing
Back
the
when
next day.
life was simpler, back when you didn't
Back
have
when
that
life
many
was simple,
responsibilities.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun.
Not as stressful as it is now.
Not at all. I was not stressing at all. Only about
Yeah.
winning the game we was playing at the time.
Yeah, of course. And taking a deeper look into Ball State and its program as a whole, um, how would you best describe the program's identity when it comes to athletics, but also expand on what the program has to offer when it comes to providing for the student athletes off the field and in the classroom? Because I had Tanner Koziel on the other week,
Mhm.
and he was talking about how he got placed in like study groups. So, what how would you describe the program's identity and their support in your own words?
I would say that we're very they make sure you're productive. Now. The coach is gonna make sure your grades are good. They're gonna be on top of that. Because I know I get annoyed with my coach sometimes when like my freshman year when I had mandatory study groups, he was like called me like 5 minutes before, like, are you there? Like you're not get there right now. Like, I'm like, come on, man. Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
um, and from class checking too, like they always make sure you go to class and like stuff like that. So it's like it's a very good program, and like they make sure you're on top of it, even though you may not like it. Like they will make sure that you are doing your work, and they will make sure that you are going to class. You are doing. They just it's hard to fail here. I would say they make it very hard to fail.
And kind of speaking more into that, would you say that they really try and teach you guys responsibility and kind of treat you as adults?
Most definitely. Like from this like 2 weeks ago. Oh yeah, because we had our interview scheduled. My brother graduated from Boston College,
Hmm.
um, and I missed that Monday lift because I was in Boston. I couldn't get a flight, and you have to handle that on your own. You got to go to the strength coach. You got to go to your position coach. You got to they make sure you handle it on your own. If you don't, you have a help session, and the help session is, you get a metal plate, you put it on the turf, and you push it for 600 yards. So, and if you don't communicate well, then you have one of those. So it's, you know,
Just staying accountable and
yes, they
responsible.
make you accountability is the best ability, is what my coach says.
Of course. And on top of this, what does it mean to you personally to be able to put on a Ball State uniform each game, but also expand on what it means to be a Cardinal, both on and off the field?
Man, what it means to be. I mean, we have like a lot of great examples of like from like Clayton Cole and the community work he does around Muncie, and like Brandon Martin, who set like great examples for us. Coming in, Bryce Cosby as well. Like those type of guys are like those are the Cardinals that I would look up to. What do I do? Because I remember I was lifting with the same rack as Brandon Martin, and he would like just tell me about his day, the stuff he would go through. It like it takes a lot of hard work. It's a lot of grit. We have a saying called "out the mud," just because we may not have as much money as other programs, but we going we gonna get ours.
Mm-hmm.
So
Of course. And is there any particular reason behind wearing the number 27?
oh no, I was in 37 my freshman year. I was like, oh, this is so ugly. Let me
See,
get
you're
at
like,
it.
I do not want to, no pictures taken no more.
Yeah. So but I switched to 27. I just told the equipment manager, I said, just give me any number in the 20s. I don't care. I was 21 in high school. I don't just give me any number. Any number in the 20s
Yeah,
I gotta have. But no, this
of
year I'm trying to
course.
switch to number 4. So
Well, so
yeah.
best of luck with that, though.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. But when talking about athletes in general, who would you say were some of your favorite athletes growing up, as well as what about them like inspired you the most?
Um I'm trying to think of the first. Oh, Chris Johnson was one of my growing up playing football. I always wore the number 28 because of Chris Johnson and Adrian Peterson. I loved them. I loved watching them. I would always watch them. I remember being so excited whenever it was on TV, stuff like that. My dad, like, whenever they were playing the Patriots, the Titans, hated because I was rooting for the Titans just because of
Yeah.
Chris Johnson. But originally, um, I kind of I don't know if you can see it now, but like when I have my hair like longer, a lot of people say I look like Blake Griffin. So, and I've heard that from like second grade on. So, and then around the time I was in second or third grade, Blake Griffin was in the dunk contest. So I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
I claim him.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
like
yeah.
him. So yeah. From a young age, I always like whenever I saw Blake Griffin on TV, it was I'm like, oh, my
Yeah.
distant relative or something like
Yeah,
that.
that's me. That's the long lost twin brother that's apparently
Yeah,
like 20 years younger than him or whatever, like 10 years. But
yeah.
like on top of this, like would you say in terms of drawing the most inspiration and like take putting your own twist on players like skill sets into your own game, would you say Chris Johnson was one of your top guys that you kind of wanted to take stuff from and put into your own game?
Growing up, I would say most definitely yes. Um, because growing up, I played up with my older brother's team for like everything. So it was just like I was always trying to do something crazy in the
Yeah.
game as a kid. I was always trying to, whether it was in basketball, I'd get a double team on me and I'd just shoot the three for no reason, get into an argument with my brother and stuff like that. I was just always like I was always trying to do something I saw on TV, whether it's like, I'm a 7-year-old trying spin moves in Pop
Yeah.
Warner football, it was just I don't know. It was whatever cool thing I saw at the time, little
Hmm.
kids, they just try a bunch of stuff. But it wasn't until I would say high school when I really started to pull stuff from like other running backs that I saw, whether it was like another high school running back or college running back. Like that's really when I started um to transition my game into something else and like really work for model my game after someone else.
Hmm. And seeing that the team went 5-7 overall, conference record of 3-5. But in addition to last season, the program hasn't had a winning record season since 2020. I talked to Tanner about this. What would you say personally needs to happen to get the program back on track? Not only next season, but beyond that. I again talked to Tanner, and he said kind of paying attention to detail, not folding under pressure, stuff like that. So, what would you say personally needs to happen?
Also, exactly that. Exactly what Tanner said. Like we can't. We have a lot of mental mistakes. I think just all over the board with all positions. Last year we did, and I think if we all lock in, we all like work hard on what we want, and that's to win a MAC championship and go further than that. Is we all have to lock in on those. Our every little detail that we have during the game, we have to lock in on that. Every little play, if we're supposed to, if we're supposed to cut block on this play and we don't cut block, and the dude gets his hand up and blocks a pass, that's on us. That's a play lost. So, you know, just every little thing we have to pay attention to. Just
Hmm.
because we open up against Kentucky and Georgia, we don't have the talent, so we obviously have to lock in all the little things.
Hmm. Well, I kind of gonna talk about that as well. Like, what what are you most excited about? Like playing there, being able to play there, both games on the road to start the season. I think.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited. I'm not gonna lie, I've been thinking about this for a long time. Yeah, I'm very excited for the both Kentucky game and the Georgia game. I have a friend on Kentucky who I train with. On the he's with Mr. Croots and stuff like that. So whenever I'm home and I'm training, I'm talking so much to him. I'm like, man, watch out for this 204
Yeah,
touchdowns.
yeah,
He plays defense too, so I'm like, watch out, I'm coming for
yeah.
that. Ball State upsetting Kentucky week 1. So that's what I say to him all the time. So it's just I'm very excited for that game. I get to see him. Like I haven't played against him. I don't even know how long. is
Yeah, of course.
I'm very excited for that. And then Georgia, man, that's gonna be a fun game.
Yeah, of course. No matter what happens.
Yeah, no, I'm a always remember that. I'm always remember the Tennessee game too, especially with the season they had that year. So I'm gonna just, you know, hopefully we win. We're gonna try. We're gonna go out there and we're gonna get the dub. I'm gonna say that confidently.
Yeah, of course. And kind of looking in the NIL world and opportunities, have you been involved with or had the chance to partner with something?
Not necessarily, but I will say my friend from high school, Sean Baum, started a company called 4 Star Studios, just a clothing company, and he did give me the first little NIL deal. So
Mm-hmm.
he was super excited about that. I was super excited. I wish I had give him a little promo. I wish I had some clothes I could put on here
Yeah, of
on the
course.
camera, but I don't have any clothes, so yet that is. But he put me on the first NIL deal, and it's a very I was happy for it. My dad was excited for it. He's a very good friend of mine. So
Of course. And what is your personal outlook and thoughts on NIL? Not only for now, but for generations to come.
I mean, I do think that it's gonna take some getting used to um, for athletes and for coaches and programs in general. Just because, I mean, even though stuff was being done like under the table way before, like
Mm-hmm.
it's just a whole new thing for coaches to adjust to because we don't fully have our NIL thing set up. Like I know at like Oklahoma, everyone on their roster has an NIL deal of like $40,000, something like that. Like,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's
but
like, well, I'd love to take that money too. Like, I'd take
yeah.
some of that.
So for smaller programs in general, I think it's going to take some more time getting used to than it is for the bigger programs because
Mm-hmm.
realistically we just can't offer the money that the bigger schools have. So
Mm-hmm. And looking back in a life off the field, how would you describe yourself on and off the field as an athlete individual, but also what you pride yourself most on when it comes to life in general?
mm. For me personally, I always grew up like not. It might sound bad, but like I really don't care about what people think about me, and like
Hmm.
that's like
It's good and bad sometimes.
yes, it's good and bad, you
It's
know.
really beneficial, like in terms of people who have no business telling you what to do, but it sometimes can be bad when some of the people that you really need to listen to that.
Exactly. Like man, I remember just as a kid, my mom would be like, "Fun, you can't do that." Like,
Yeah, you can't talk to people like that. What are you talking about?
yeah, you can't run around to the grocery store just knocking stuff over.
And
You know,
not people are not gonna look at you and be like, "Wow, that's a good kid right there. That's a really well behaved kid. That I wish that was my kid over there."
man, I just know from the stories my mom's told me, I just never registered in my mind that like people had other opinions on me, I guess, when I was a kid. And I just, I realize that now, but it's more just like I'm going to be my own person. I'm not going to confine myself to
Yeah, you're not gonna limit yourself to
yeah,
what somebody tells you, and you're gonna be your own self. You're not gonna be like, well, this
exactly.
person told me I'm gonna be this, so I'm gonna act like this. Kind
Hmm.
of how I mean, you kind of talked about it, but how would you say that's kind of shaped you into who you are today? Kind of having to kind of learn that like you can act like this here, but you can't act like this here. Does that kind of help with like your social skills? Because I remember growing up, we used to have this dog, one of our best dogs ever, German Shepherd named Sam. I always used to run away from the house, and
Hmm.
he'd always chase after me. And whenever we went to the state fair, my mom always had to make me wear a tie-dye shirt so I wouldn't get lost.
Yep.
Like, how is that? How so I've learned a lot, but how would you say this kind of shaped you most over time?
Man, I would say it has just I wouldn't be the man today. I'm the man I am today without it, obviously. But it's just from the lessons I've learned, like from like, okay, like I might have to chill out with this. And then
Yeah,
like, okay, like maybe I can do this maybe I could push the limit a little bit with this. Like
kind of
just
being professional and when you can
mhm,
be kind of loose and
yeah,
stuff like that.
exactly. And I like to be loose all the time, as you know. There's sometimes when you just gotta be,
Sometimes, yeah.
yeah.
Sometimes, yeah, of course. And on top of this, we're on campus at Ball State. Would you say is the place to be, but also where you enjoy spending the most time besides any of the athletic facilities?
I would probably say the atrium or North Dining just because it has the best food on campus.
I wish my
But
campus had good food, honestly. It's like the
apparently,
same thing.
apparently we're getting a Panda Express in um in the North Dining, so I'm gonna be there a whole lot
Gonna be
if we get
swiping
that
that
next
meal
semester.
card every time, every day.
Exactly, a whole lot. No, but mainly I'm in my room like most of the time if I'm not in an athletic facility. Um, I'm just hanging out with my friends. I'm just it's
Kind
a
of keeping
small
it up,
campus, so
keeping
yeah,
it
I'm
chill.
just that's mostly just what I do.
Of course. And when it comes to like team activities and community events, what has been your favorite kind of community event so far with the team, but also what these mean to you specifically, and what do you learn most about yourself seeing others so excited to see players like you and looking at you for inspiration. How has that changed kind of your outlook on life or seeing that it's not just about you, it's
It's
about
about the
your
community.
actions and
Hmm.
seeing how what you do can positively or negatively impact others and how they live their lives.
I mean, every training camp we have this thing called Fam Jam, where like families come, the community comes, and like the football players just out on the field. We're doing activities with the kids. Where like the local businesses will come through too, with little tents and stuff like that. And right away, my freshman year, because we did it during camp, I was just like, oh wow, this is like this is what it's like, I guess, to be a college athlete. There's little kids running up to you, don't even know who I am because I haven't played a snap, and they're like, "Can
Yeah,
you sign this?" Like stuff like that. So it's very cool. I thought right away just seeing how much the kids really do look up to you and stuff like that. And it's very surreal for me. It was very surreal. I was like, wow, like I didn't expect this. And I'm at Ball State. I wonder what it's like at Bama, you know?
Yeah, of course. And well, while on the topic of off the field, what do you like to do to be able to take your mind off of football when you aren't playing, practicing, or training? Is it kind of kicking back with the boys and playing 2K and stuff like that?
There is it's partly that, and I really like movies. I go to the movie theater all the time. Like I saw the new Spider-Man movie twice already. So yeah, I really like movies. I go to the movie theater all the time, just
They just
like,
know who you are. Hi, hey Vaughn.
yeah, pretty much,
One ticket to Spider-Man, I'm guessing.
Yep. They get my icy ready and the popcorn,
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't know. When I was younger, I didn't always like enjoy movies that much, but I don't know why. I just something to do, I guess. I go to the movie theater, watch the movie, and I just chill out.
Of course. And when talking about accomplishments, what's something off the field you're most proud of yourself for, whether that be academically, socially, or something different?
Um, I would say I've made a whole lot of improvements academically. Like my early on, high school wasn't the best for me academically, and I've really
Yeah.
stepped it up here at Ball State. I've just been getting a lot of like 3.0s and higher, and higher than that. I don't know why I said that, but
Yeah, don't limit
early on in
yourself.
high school, yeah, early on in high school was just like I don't know what it was, but I was just like, I'm not doing that homework.
Yeah.
Just like I don't know. I was just so immature and so like realizing like it may not because at the time I'm like, this doesn't apply to my life. Like I don't need this, but it's like I needed it just to get to where I'm at now.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't like my coaches would try to instill that in me. There was like, Vaughn, like, what are you doing? Like, you're here, you're doing good in sports and everything, but like you can't just say screw academics in general. You gotta
Mm-hmm.
do the work. And it didn't hit me until like senior year or going into my senior year when I committed. My high school counselor was like, Vaughn, you are barely NCAA eligible just because of how bad your freshman year and sophomore year were. And I was like, oh, why? So I had to like take a summer school class. I had to redo like Algebra 1, English 1, stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that, just because like I messed up that bad mentally early on because I was so immature. I just didn't. And if I could go back, I'm going back and I'm getting straight A's just because I don't know what was going through my head at the time, man. I was just a young 14-year-old who thought he knew everything.
Yeah, yeah. Of course. And seeing that you got a lot of time left in your collegiate career, but looking at the next level, such as the NFL, uh, what kind of athlete and individual would coaches and teams be getting out of you, and why scouts and coaches should look into you specifically?
Mm. Well, um, no matter what I'm going through at the time, I'm going to work my ass off. Like it doesn't matter. I could, recently my one of my best friends passed away in February,
Mhm.
and I got the news over the weekend, and I come into the lift that morning or the Monday morning after the weekend. I couldn't go home yet just because like we didn't have the stuff arranged for the funeral and stuff like that. But I was just like, I didn't eat and I didn't sleep over the weekend. And I came into the lift and I had one of my best lifts like ever. So I was like, it wasn't a max out there or anything, but I went through the lift with intent and like just ready to work at all times. And that's just who I've become from like training with Mr. Cruz back home to like talking to my dad about certain things in life because my dad is a very successful businessman. So it's just, you know, like I've really I wouldn't say I figured life out because
Yeah, yeah,
no
yeah.
one has figured life out, but I would just say I've grown so much and I yeah, you know.
Of course. Yeah, exactly. And kind of talking more about this, when thinking of the people that mean the most to you in your life growing up, who would these people be for you? But also, if they were to be listening, what would you have to share with them?
I love you, mom. But no, my mom, my dad, grandma, my uncles, my aunts, like everyone has been obviously my older brother. So he's been very like, even though we fight all the damn time, he's been very helpful to me throughout my athletic career and like just in life in general, from like little talks we have to like making fun of each other for talking to certain girls, stuff like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah, of course.
But because we're only 2 years apart, so it's just but mainly my mom, just seeing all the stuff she would do for me growing up, it was just like there's just like wow, from driving me like an hour away for a practice to playing a competitive team, like and driving me like 4 hours just to go to a camp, like there's a whole lot of stuff they do for you that you take for granted at the time, but you look back on it, it's like they didn't have to do that for me. They didn't, you know, they
Yeah,
just did it because they knew it made me happy, stuff like that. So it was just, you see the sacrifices that they make, and like kids may take it for granted now, but like you look back on it, you're like, oh wow, but these people really have my back. They really are for me. And I'm stubborn, so it took me a little while to realize that. So
of course. And additionally, what advice that you gotten in your life so far have you felt has stuck to you the most over time?
this isn't necessarily advice because I just saw this quote somewhere online, but it was a Malcolm X quote. It was the future belongs to those who prepare for it today. And I think I was like a sophomore in high school when I heard that quote, and I was like, oh, like thinking about like this is true. Like the person who wins the game, like say football collegiately, is the team that wins the game is the team that prepares the most, the team that is locked into all the details, the team, and that's life in general. So I just took that quote and I tried to apply it to everything. It's just and it's helped a
Yeah.
whole lot.
Mm-hmm. And off the field, what is something you want to be able to advocate and use your platform to advocate for going forward?
I don't know. I know that in America there's a whole lot of stuff going on with just everything. Like it's just a whole lot. I don't even want to comment on it, but
Mm-hmm.
it's um there's a whole lot of problems that I would love to fix if I could, but I don't even have the platform to do it, but I would if I could, just advocating for equal rights in general with everyone. Like there doesn't need to be all this hate in the world, like all this animosity between groups of whether it's ethnic groups or like with the LGBTQ plus community and like all of that. It's like there's no need for it, bro. Just live your life. Just
Yeah, yeah.
but that message alone is hard to get across to some people. So,
Mm-hmm. Of
just world peace in general is what I would try to strive for.
course. When your collegiate career eventually comes to an end, how do you want to be remembered most for during your time at Ball State?
I would say a leader and someone who made the most of every opportunity he got, and just I want to be remembered as more than just like a running back. Like my name
Mhm.
gets brought up, people just go, "Oh, the old running back here." Like I just something more than that.
You don't want to be limited to just the athlete. You want to be known
Hmm.
as the guy who got good grades off the field, improved his life, and stuff like that, right?
Hmm. Yes, exactly.
Of course. And additionally, what is an ultimate goal and mission that you want to fulfill before your time comes to an end at Ball State too?
I want to win a MAC championship. I want a ring. That's the first thing that came to mind. I want a ring. Obviously I want my degree. I want all that.
Yeah, of course.
I'm sorry, mom. I said the ring first, but
Yeah,
um,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, I want a ring. That's I want multiple too. I don't just want one. And I think with the talent that we have at Ball State right now, I think we can do that.
Of course. And last question: when things are all said and done, what do you think you'll miss most about being in college and having the opportunity to play college football at the Division I FES level?
Just being around my friends like every day, all day. Like it's it's like I know I'm probably taking it for granted right now, but it's just like going to the locker room, messing with each other before workouts, like going in the little ice machine, filling like a bottle up with cold water, spraying teammates randomly, like stuff like that. It's just like it's. I just love being around my friends 24/7, seeing them every day. Like it's like you could be in a bad mood and you could be dealing with something when you come to the facility, but once you step into the locker room, like someone makes some type of like really offensive joke to you, and you're just like,
Hmm.
fuck what I was going through. Like that was
Yeah.
hilarious. So it's just being around people who can always cheer you up 24/7 is very, very like helpful to my life, I would say. Even though I'm like rarely in a bad mood, but like just being around them is just a lot of fun in general. It's
Of
like it's
course.
rare for people to have this in general. So I can't take it for granted, even though I just said I do.
Yeah, of course. Once again, Vaughn Pemberton, Ball State running back. Vaughn, really appreciate you taking the time today and wish you nothing but the best going forward.
Appreciate you.
Of course.
Thank